What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is Ulysses. His opponent today in the other color, which is not red, obviously blue, because that's normally what happens in these 1v1s. And I'm just getting back into the swing of things. It's HellsRavage, and he is playing Odin.
Tilbúin.
Odin, the god of mischief. No, that's Loki. Anyways, we do have the a classic matchup here for you guys. We've seen a little bit of the old Odin versus Greek in the past, and we're going to see a little bit more of it as the course of Age mythology continues its process. You know, it's going to keep going, and you're just going to keep seeing these matchups. There are a lot of different possibilities that you could possibly see in this game, but in the end of the day, we will eventually see everything, but every game is slightly different with different ideas. So interested to see what Hells is going to be doing. Hells, he's a strong player, but he's a strong player based off of a wealth of experience, not necessarily because of up-to-date meta, if that makes any sense. So he's always kind of doing something a little bit offbeat. So we'll see if that's going to work for him in this game or not. Whereas Ulysses here, he is very, very much up with best builds, best meta. One of arguably the strongest players currently playing the game. He won the Masters of Mythology tournament, if you guys remember that one. So he is at the top of his game, at least was, and he's still playing a fair amount. And I'm always excited to see a Ulysses game. Very, very strong player, especially when he plays the Zeus, because I think Zeus is one of the more fun gods to watch. I think Zeus has got the power to throw off a lot of kind of defensive orientated players with either the hoplite Athena rush style, some underworld shenanigans, centaurs. Everything that Zeus does is designed to take your opponent out of their comfort zone, basically. So I see a little bit of a gathering right now in the main base for Ulysses. He's going for 3 villagers on wood. I think that on a map like Watering Hole, while I do prefer to advance as fast as possible here, with Zeus, I don't think you get as much value in a map like this as you would in a different sort of map, like say, I don't know, Savannah, where there's only like one hunt spawn. You know exactly where your opponent's going to be gathering from. Now, just as I'm saying all this, I actually think that there's definitely room in the Zeus build order, in the Zeus Athena rush, to get your temple down and build a Pegasus really, really early. So this is a new idea that I haven't really toyed with yet, but I think it's actually really, really strong. And when you're building this temple, you build this Pegasus out really nice and early. And the idea is that you start seeing that consistency with early game aggression, like either with your Jason, Odysseus, and whatever, as you would see with an Odin player who's getting their Ravens out. And it only costs 50 food. Very, very rarely is that 50 food going to slow you down in any real way. And you're just, every single game, you're going to be able to find your opponent's weak resources, and you're going to be able to send your hero SS straight away. So you should be able to find that consistency, which a lot of players seemingly are lacking, whereas like a lot of gods are lacking, I should say, not players. A lot of gods are lacking where Odin doesn't. So we're not going to see that here from Ulysses because it's not standard. It's just a kind of new idea that I've had. Anyways, HellsRavage, on the other hand, he is just about to advance through Freya. A fairly late advance time here. This is greedy from Hells. I don't think that there's not necessarily anything super bad about advancing late with the Norse gods, because you can be building Hersa out while you're advancing. But you do delay your longhouse and you will be put slightly behind. But on a map like Watering Hole, when you got this safe food back here, not really all too much to worry about in terms of the early game. There is a kind of slightly exposed gold mine here that an Athena Rush could just come in straight away and knock you off of, and then you can have a really tough game. But we've already got Hells throwing up all of his walls around these towers, making sure he's nice and safe here. We've got the Katoska boss moving in, going to be scouting out the gold mine, and potentially meaning that he's going to be doing something like that. So Ulysses here, he's going through Hermes, and he does have 2 villagers on the temple. So it's going to be some sort of a centaur-orientated playstyle to begin with. Ulysses is kind of known for doing this kind of centaur hoplite strategy. One of the first to really get good with this strategy. It's a very, very tough strategy. Its economy is difficult, and everything about that is very, very challenging. He's going to get himself a very early Sylvan lore out. That's just so he doesn't lose his centaur to any pesky Valkyrie or Hersa stuff. But generally speaking, you want to bolt the Valkyrie anyways. So you're really just worried about her. So, and so maybe delaying that Silver Lore is an idea, as we just see the forest fire here onto the temple. This actually might kill the temple, as we are seeing the repairing starting. It's going to be close here, as it is seemingly looking like the temple is going to go down even with the villagers repairing it, but he does. Oh, there you go. No, keeps it up. That's very, very nice play from Ulysses. Hell's getting a little bit overzealous there, thinking his forest fire would be able to kill that. But as the trees fell, and he sends his Raven to spot it out, and he says, "No, it didn't die." Not that big of a deal for Ulysses, but Hells is going to be a bit sad that he didn't pick off the temple. And we do indeed see a bolt there onto the Valkyrie as well. So all standard play thus far. Very nice and defensive base here from Hells, as he's going to be throwing down another set of walls over here just to make sure that he's got more and more time. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but Odin and Norse in general against the early game of Greek, you just want to buy that time until about 7 minutes. And if you've taken no damage by 7 minutes and had really good economy, really good macro, you should be okay to then start fighting the Norse players. This is a beautiful, beautiful centaur usage there. He's actually attacked the wall segment there in order to delay that wooden wall down. Very nice play there to pick that one off and cause some issues here. But looks like Hells is going to get the wall up no matter that there. And his lone centaur polemark here has not really been able to do all too much. We are seeing Stray Herso trying to get in onto this centaur. He's nearly got 90 HP remaining. But it's seemingly looking like Els is going for the raiding cavalry Herso approach, which is incredibly food intensive. And he hasn't really started on any of those throwing axemen because he probably hasn't seen a military academy come down just yet. But they are coming down now. For Ulysses is going to start spamming out those hoplites incredibly fast here. This is actually interesting here from Ulysses. Maybe his idea here with delaying the military academy was just waiting to see what his opponent was going to be making, and say his opponent went straight in on the throwing axeman Herso that someone like Skadi might go for. He's going to look at that and maybe reorientate his economy to go more into the Toxotes even, because he has that option of delaying that with this build until he scouts out what his opponent's doing. But he sees it, and it ends up being fairly standard here for Ulysses. But he's definitely shorted himself on the food a little bit for that production, as we are seeing those raiding cavalry coming in, trying to get onto these centaurs. And medium raiders does manage to come through the army on the behind from Ulysses. He's actually going to have to pull back here, and he's going to lose a lot of HP, if not units, on this retreat, because those heroes there, very, very weak, very, very sad. We are seeing the centaurs going after one raiding cavalry. Does not manage to pick it off, still has a little bit of HP remaining, as Ulysses is going to be retreating away. The Herso trying to get some damage done. And I actually think that what Hells needs to do now is just ignore this army and start looking for villagers, because he's completely got the population advantage right now. He's at 79 population. He's pushed these units back. Ulysses is desperately trying to cause some distractions everywhere. He's going to be picking off a couple of units on the back here. So long as Hells doesn't actually lose a raiding cavalry to these special abilities, he's actually fine, because he's got that Odin regen. Those will come back up. We even see a Ulsark here almost managing to get away, but does end up falling here as the centaur does get picked off. Nice play there by Hells, getting even more hits on that. Oh, and the ghost building coming in as well, getting even more hits. I would love to see another ghost building there, but a little bit too slow on that one from Hells, so he doesn't manage to pick off the centaur, but does get some nice trades there, as the raiding cavalry are going to be looking for some raids over on the bottom side. Where are those villagers? The villagers are still just hanging in on this position here, eating as much food as they possibly can. And Ulysses has to kind of reorientate his idea now. What do? You haven't managed to get that early game pressure onto your opponent just yet. You haven't managed to get a whole lot of damage done. So where to? You have to kind of defend. You have to put walls up maybe. You have to sit back. You have to wait for the next power spike that comes with Zeus. But in turn, that then allows the Norse player to do whatever they want. So we'll see. Will Hells make the very, very correct call of going armory and going heroic edge? Yes, he does. He's very, very correct. It's exactly what you need to do. Nice attempt there from Ulysses to almost block those raiding cavalry and pick them all off. But he doesn't actually manage to get it. And those raiding cavalry get through. But Hells is going to look to go to the next age now. He does not need to build any more units. Ulysses here is going to have to continue building units, and we'll see if he gets the timing to get any value out of these hoplites or not. He is picking off a couple of straggler raiding cavalry. There's a lot of those hoplites out, and the centaur mass has started to come through. So now Ulysses has got some sort of a avenue to put pressure on. Remember, hoplites are basically siege weapons, so he can walk into his opponent's base, but his opponent, HellsRavage right now, still sitting decent economy and has towers. Very easily can sit in his base and just say, all right, do your darnest. The problem really does actually rely, or the problem really for Ulysses is this gold mine over here, but I would wager that while Ulysses knows it's here, he wouldn't... I mean, maybe he would be piecing it together, that there's an opportunity now to put pressure on, but I don't think he would put the piece it together that he should come over here like right away. If he did, he probably would have just walked around the map this way, come through here, and then attacked. But it's not what's happened here in this game, and we are going to be seeing a couple of those throwing axemen getting sniped down by the centaur on the back, as the hoplite's going to be looking to get some sort of an attack here. I imagine Hells is going to the heroic edge right now, and he has managed to click up through Scardy. So at this point, Hells can actually throw everything over onto the trees and start thinking about getting into mass frost giant, throwing axeman, Huskal kind of play here, as the hoplite's going to just start storming the houses here, as the houses are very precariously placed. If you're playing against the Zeus, put these houses inside of your base, and don't worry about the fact you're not going to be farming, because you're probably not going to be farming anyways. At least close to their town center, but now seeing a little bit of damage getting done here as Ulysses is trying to get in here. Lots of houses getting picked off as Hells has to pull back. Another long house coming up here. All these houses going down. Is going to be a lot of time gained here for Ulysses. And Ulysses, he has finally spotted this gold mining operation over here. Nice play. He's going to start picking off some dwarves and getting some value there, as the hoplites going to be moving in and taking this fight, going straight after those hers. So there's the frost coming in. Going to be hitting all of these units. I imagine a very, very swift ceasefire is going to come through. Yes, it does. And now one wall, two walls, going to be perfect here for Hells to block this army in. However, is his army actually going to be strong enough here is the question. Is his army going to be strong enough? He's at 109 of 105 population. He's another house here. He's got a couple of units over here. And at the end of this ceasefire, these units are going to be stuck in here. But does it matter? Is he still going to be able to get good value out of this? Obviously, there's the defender's advantage for Hells. Is he getting himself any upgrades? Man, he needs to get himself heavy raiders. If he can get heavy raiders before the ceasefire comes through here, then these raiders are going to be absolutely carved through this army. Not only that, you also get yourself medium infantry, and you win here. But it's seemingly looking like that's not what Hells wants to do. He wants to bank those resources for something else. Some units now coming over here to hang out, and now the hoplite's going to move over and try and get into a position to defend their centaur, as the Hearse are trying to get onto those as well. The frost giants wandering over here, and this should be a fairly good massacre here for Hells. We'll see how this fight's going to go, but it is seemingly looking like Ulysses has managed to get a second town center behind all of this. Lots of hoplites currently sitting idle, allowing those throwing axemen to get some good damage done. One frost giant onto a centaur over there managed to take that one down, and while Hells is going to win this fight, it seems it's going to be a completely decent trade here for Ulysses, and now Hells is down. Heroic Age God Power, and Ulysses is completely happy with his position. If we see Ulysses still trying to push through, let's see how he's going over. He's starting to throw up his farms, 2 town centers here. He's still eating food in the middle of the map, being completely fine. He's sitting at 99 of 130 population. Hells is sitting at 101 of 115 population. At this point now, you could probably throw down a mark and go straight here, and then that's when things get a little bit scary for the Zeus player. We'll see if that's what if that's what Hells is going to do. Problem for Hells is, what does he really have? He's got some lions over here. He doesn't really have the food, so we might have to jump everything onto the gold and then buy his way to the next age, or try and push forward and grab these hippopotamus over here. We see the marker coming up here for Hells indeed, so there is some sort of an idea to go to the mythic age, and we'll see how that's going to go for him, as Ulysses, because he's gone 2 town center. And you know how I feel about this. If I was playing this game, there's no way I would grab 2 town center here. I would try and go mythic age off of 1 town center and try and make a Hera underworld play work in this position, especially if you could like underworld from here over to here, for example, and then control this gold mine over here, and then Hera lightning storm, win the game, would have been an option. But Ulysses opting to be a little bit more safe and just kind of see what Hells is going to do. On the other hand, it's now Hells moving forward onto this location here. Wouldn't be actually surprised to see him grab this town center while this is all going on, but I feel like Hells is kind of committed in a way. He's throwing up a hill fort on this position, which I don't mind. But when I say Hells is committed to going to the Mythic Age now, he's already gone to the Heroic Age. If you get a talent center this late, it takes a long time for it to pay off. You've already spent so many resources on going to the Heroic Age that it just doesn't make as much sense to not do that. But now we see the fight still coming through here. We do have those heavy throwing axemen over here. There are a bunch of those sitting on the hill fort. Need to come over here and help fight this one off as the Frost Giant's doing some good damage to the tank. The throwing axemen coming through. Those centaur on the back trying to take down those Frost Giants. They do a decent amount of damage to them with the extra bonus damage to mythiness that they have. However, with the 69% pierce armor, it's actually not the best. Kind of want to be doing something else. We are seeing Ulysses pulling back. I feel like he's kind of distracting in a little way. He does, in a way here. He doesn't really want to take these fights. He can't really fight against those throwing axemen, especially if Hells can think about getting himself Huntress Axe here, but not happening just yet. We've got some villagers over here for Ulysses as well, still hunting everything, feeling very, very good about that. And if we check out Hells, he's still not able to advance, still trying to push forward, still trying to find some way to move here. Now Ulysses is going to be able to at least get to the Heroic Age, which is absolutely huge. Allows him to make a Pass Fist, and Pass Fist are going to be a very, very big help against this throwing axeman kind of infantry-based army, forcing Hells into more of a kind of having to build raiding cavalry, which you don't really want to do here, so that's going to be a really, really big help for Ulysses. Interested to see if he decides to go Apollo or Dionysus. So Apollo is the god of choice, so that's going to be somewhat helpful for him as the army here for Ulysses retreating back. And now, now the townsend. I mean, it could just be a bait. It could just be a bait, and I like it as a bait. I love it as a bait. Bait the army in and still go to the Mythic Age here. Okay, good. It's a bait. Beautiful play here from Hells. I was going to say, it's just like so classic. That sort of a talent center grab is just like classic 2000 and like 10 kind of Age of Mythology. But as a bait there to bring the army in, not a bad idea. And though it hasn't actually worked for him, as now he's had to pull back. But now Hells is kind of like he's advanced, and I'd say he's advanced late to the Mythic Age here, but he has managed to get there, and he's going to get there much earlier than Ulysses as the Apollo does come through. But the problem is going to be this gold mine's going to expire. These villagers are going to have to walk all the way forward here. We do have the infantry of Hells decided to pull back, which I'm not sure I like. At this point now, you can think about getting town centers because you're going to have the timing, the tempo of Fimbulwinter to come in as the Pegasus is coming in onto this position, and we see the villagers leaving. I actually really, really like that is Hells has noticed that that's going to be a problem and realized that staying there is probably not going to be that good of an idea. You can just come forward into this gold mine, have his hill fort, have a nice defensive position here as we do see the Underworld coming. Oh god, he's going to go after the town center. He's going to go 70% of the way through. The throwing axemen are already over here, going to be trying to take down these units here. Oh, is he going to be able to get to the Mythic Age is the big question. We see the throwing axemen darting through the town center, going to start taking down these hoplites, and then after the town center falls, he can just leave. He's got 87%. No throwing axemen are currently repairing this town center up, and he's going to be able to deny the town center. This play here from Ulysses is absolutely insane. He comes in, he denies the Mythic Age, and he just pulls back. What a play there from Ulysses to deny that Mythic Age. That there was god tier, if you ask me. He's completely predicted. Obviously, that's what that Hells is going to be doing there, and he just barely gets it down. That is so huge. And not only that, he gets out. So he's down a Mythic Age God Power, sorry, a Heroic Age God Power, but he's bought himself enough time to allow his second town center to kick in, and he's going to be able to get to the Mythic Age first here through Hera. Going to be able to do everything. And not only that, he's managed to take down this hill fort on the front here. These villagers are going to be getting taken down as well. And Hells' chances in this game are seemingly looking incredibly dire, to be honest. Losing all these villagers, losing the temple of that Fimbulwinter, and the fact that Ulysses is 2 town centers now, Hells is going to have to find something here something very, very special here to find a win in this game, as Hells has clicked up yet again through tier, and we're now seeing Ulysses getting that 4 town center, which is beautiful. Grab that town center, have an eye on this one, don't allow Hells onto that, and now those hoplites can start probably becoming something not named hoplites. Maybe a pacifists wouldn't be a bad idea, and we'll see. Maybe Hells is going to be able to notice this town center going up, maybe he's not. If we click the fog of war, and now we see the toxic throwing axemen coming in, and they will notice this town center going up. He's going to start trying to deny this. The Manticore here to help out as well, but this is also a huge bait here from Ulysses, because these units are not going to be close to a building to garrison into, and the Lightning Storm is going to absolutely tear through this army of HellsRavage. Ulysses here is just hit the Mythic Age. There's the Lightning Storm, and there's the tap out from Hells. It's just like, yep, outplayed. Too good here. My golly gosh, this is what makes Ulysses so insanely good at this game. Everything that Ulysses did in this game, at the very end of it, made sense. So you go, okay, why didn't Ulysses go for more early game push? Well, he didn't want that. He had a very specific plan in mind. A timing against the what do you call it, against the frost, hit that timing on the second gold mine, force a frost, a defensive frost here, so that he doesn't get frosted on his villages. That was point number 1 that Ulysses executed brilliantly. So much so that after the fight, he still managed, after the frost and ceasefire, he managed to still trade decently there. Behind that, he's like, well, I lost all my army. I know I'm going to lose all my army, so I'm going to have to go to town center to make this work, to get an economy, to rebuild my army, to continue the pressure. So I'm going to go to town center behind this. And then he's able to repopulate his army. And then he goes, well, the only other thing that Hells has got, or the Odin player is going to have here, is going to be a Mythic Age. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a timing on the town center, take that down with my heavy siege hoplites here, and then pull back, and then that's going to be enough time for me to get to the Mythic Age and utilize that economic advantage that I've managed to get. Beautiful play here. Hells, honestly, the timings from Ulysses were off, if I'm completely honest. If this was like a Soup or someone like that who had like perfect Norse macro, he would have been, I would say he probably would have been, or Rappel or something like that, he would have been Mythic Age well before this. I would say maybe a 15-minute Mythic Age would have made a lot more sense here for Hells than the slightly delayed one, like 16-minute, 45, whatever. It was around 17-minute aiming for. So what a wild game, though, to be honest. Incredibly well played by Ulysses. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.